let me ask you a question. Haven't you feel lonely in your life? In my life, I have experienced that. I'll tell you a small story about how I felt when I felt lonely. When I was selected to the university, that was the first time I was away from my family and friends. And I was in a very complete, strange environment. I didn't know anyone there, and the hostel was new, the people were new. And when I was living that life for the first few months, I was thinking, why am I here? Why did I come to the university? We have heard the university life is fun. But the initial experience I had those days weren't like that, because I was all alone. Initially, it was very difficult for me to get along with them and to adjust to the situation there. And I wasn't happy. And I thought I wasn't happy because I didn't have my loved ones with me, my friends with me, and I was all by myself. And it was true that I had social media. I was on Facebook and I had friends on Facebook. You may know that we have thousands of online friends. But when we feel lonely, can they come and be with us? But for me, it wasn't like that. So I was struggling a lot, and it took me a while. And it's surprising to know that a recent research has proven that 1 out of 3 is lonely in this world. The worst part of it is that we don't know how to deal with it, because we tend to find happiness from the outside world. So for me, I felt I didn't have my loved ones with me. And I didn't know how to get out of that loneliness. And this day and age, people say the loneliness happens because people don't have strong relationships, one-on-one, face-to-face relationships. And people are spending a lot of time online, on social media, and they don't have true friends to talk about their life. And I think, yes, those are reasons. But that is the reason that we see from the surface level, don't we? I'll tell you why. Because, we feel that the relationships we have, or the people we have, and the things we try to entertain, the way we entertain ourselves is different. And we look those satisfactions and contentment from the outside world, and we are not content with what we have. That is the biggest problem. How would you feel lonely with a group of people? I remember I have experienced that. People go to parties. I've been to parties, and with thousands of hundreds of people, you're all alone. You're all by yourself. We talk about very random topics, but that depth, the essence or the core is not there. You are all by yourself. So, it's true that people say to have a good relationship and develop interpersonal communication helps to get out of this loneliness. Do you think it's really the truth? Yes, we can do that. Yet, can you come out of the loneliness? Let's say, okay, you do that. You go out, you start to hang around with people, you start to develop a really good relationship with the people around you. But haven't you experienced that? They leave you at some point, going through breakup, divorce, death apart them. Then what's next? Find another relationship, a friend, to come out of loneliness. Is that it? So it's not a permanent solution. It's very temporary. You know, the real answer to that problem would be to understand what you really want and how that happens. So you can reflect on yourself, how the thought process happens in your mind. When you focus on that, when you start to realize that, then you can find how it happened. Let's take a simple example. Let's take your mother. Your mother is mother to you, right? But who is she for me? Who is she for her mother? Who is she for her spouse, your father? To her mother, she's the daughter. To you, she's your mother. To her husband, she's the wife. And to your daughter, maybe your son, she's the grandmother, isn't it? So it's the same person, but people felt in a different manner. They felt a different feeling towards that same person, isn't it? So, doesn't that show us the thing we believe, the relationship that we believe happens in our mind? It's nothing to do with the outside world. If it's about the outside world, everyone should feel about your mother the same way. But it wasn't, right? For me, she's a stranger. But for you, it's your mother. To your daughter, it's your grandmother. For her, it's her grandmother. Her spouse, it's the wife. Why do you feel different way? Isn't it because that relationship creates in the mind? For that, you have ideas and views about that person. So depending on that, the perceiving process happens in the mind. And that's how you perceive it. The mind perceives it. And then the value that you give to that person completely depends on your idea or the view that you bear in your mind. Another example, let's take your partner. Let's assume that you didn't meet your partner 2 years ago. 2 years ago, he's a complete stranger to you. But today, he has become your partner. Just compare the value you have today and 2 years ago. If that value is given, comes from the outside world, from that person, why do you feel different from 2 years back and today? And today, if something happens to him, you will feel it. If he's sick, get not well or something like that, you feel in a different manner. But those days, 2 years back, how did you feel? You didn't care about it because you were not bothered, because you don't know who he was even. But now, if you break up today, don't you feel lonely? Don't you feel devastated? You have given your happiness, let's say the ticket to happiness, to an outside person, a person in the outside world. So you see, we always tend to search for happiness, search for contentment. To get out of loneliness, we use other people. But to be honest, you don't have to do it if you really understand the truth, how this mechanism works. Because if I tell you that you're already content, you're fulfilled already, you're happy already, will you buy that? You might think, oh no, I have this problem, and I have these issues, so no, I'm not happy. I'm trying to be happy. I'm searching for this happiness. You may have that answer with you. But I tell you, you have that happiness within you. But the problem is that it's been covered. And while it's been covered, you're searching for something from a place where you can't get it. If you have got it, then you have to be satisfied by now. But you're not. Why? Because it's not there in the outside world. So, ladies and gentlemen, loneliness can be healed. And you don't have to maintain a good relationship to come out of loneliness. Why? Because your happiness doesn't have to lie in the outside world. It doesn't lie in the outside world. It's within you. It's inside of you. But to get it, to understand it, to realize it, all you have to do is you have to understand this mind, to see the truth, how this happiness works. Then you can find a permanent solution to loneliness.